Hello and welcome to this mind map on the topic of problem solving. In this map we'll be looking at a 7-stage process for dealing with bigger problems and a 3-stage process for dealing with smaller problems. The map also covers how to clarify the problem and make sure you're dealing with the right one, and then it looks at 2 methods of identifying the root causes of problems, the first one being the 5 whys method and the next one being the mind map method. Let's begin then by looking at the 7-stage process for dealing with bigger problems. This you can use as a group activity or as an individual activity. The first stage is to identify and clarify the problem, and another branch of this map will look at this. The next stage is to identify the causes of the problem. This can be done by using the 5 whys or the mind map methods, which again will be looked at on this map. The next stage is to generate potential solutions. This can be done by methods such as a brainstorm or through the use of creative thinking techniques. The idea here is that it's quantity first that we're looking for. Once you have this quantity, you can evaluate the potential solutions that you have against criteria such as risk, in terms of the risk of doing it or the risk of not doing it, also against criteria such as cost or other resources. What we're looking for is to identify the solutions that we want to use. So having gone for quantity first, we then look for quality second. Once we have an idea of how we're going to solve the problem, we can start to plan actions of what's going to be done by whom and when they're going to do it or when by. When this has been identified, you can actually implement the actions, and this could well involve using project management techniques. Once this is done, we're into evaluating the impact that the actions have had on the problem. Have they solved it or have they not? And also you can evaluate the problem solving process itself. But if the problem itself has not been solved, then you're back to square one and you need to identify, clarify the problem again and then work through the process. So let's look now at the 3-stage process of dealing with smaller problems, which is known as the 3 C's. The C's being concern, cause and countermeasure. Regarding concern, it could be that something like there's a problem with X or Y isn't working, and also, as before, you want to actually clarify what the issue is. What is it what problem are we solving? The cause of the problem may be known, but if not, the 5 whys and the mind map techniques can be used here as well. The countermeasure is then about planning actions, again sorting out by whom and when by, then implementing those countermeasures, tracking their progress and evaluating the impact and results of implementing them. Now this section of the mind map looks at the issue of clarifying the problem. Firstly, you want to know what is it? What is the actual problem? So you need to be objective here and look at what's the evidence, what's telling you that there is actually a problem, and beware, are you solving the right problem? Then you can look at whose problem is it. If it's yours, then fine, you can work to find a solution. If it's someone else's, pass it on. It's not your monkey. The way you phrase the problem can also have an impact on how you deal with it. You could, for example, phrase it to answer a question, such as, how can we improve process X? There could be a problem here that, however, are you really sure that you are solving the right problem? You could phrase the problem, though, in a way to investigate a statement such as process X is not working. From here, you can begin to seek root causes, which might be a better route to take. So now we can look at the 5 whys method of identifying the root cause of a problem. For example, we may have the issue of I got a speeding ticket. The method is then to keep asking why to get to the root cause. So let's see an example of I got a speeding ticket. Why? Because I was late for work. Why? Because I overslept. Why? Because my alarm didn't go off. Why? The battery ran out. Why? I don't replace regularly. So this can lead us to the countermeasure of check, replace your battery in your alarm clock at regular intervals. Nothing to do with driving or anything else. The second approach to identifying potential root causes of problems is the mind map method. So here, let's look at this particular problem where poor Fred the caveman has tried to make a wheel out of stone but has failed quite miserably. So that's the problem. Fred can't make the wheel properly. So it could be a people issue. Fred himself perhaps. Might be that he's not trained or he's not experienced, or the issue could be from another person, Fred's boss for example, who hasn't given him enough time or is pressurizing him too much. It could, however, be the process. It may be that Fred is hitting the rock in the wrong place or something like this. So there might be a couple of issues related to the process that's being used. It could be Fred's equipment isn't effective enough. Either the hammer's the wrong size or too heavy, or it's just not the right tool in the first place. Or the materials, the rock itself used for the stone, that might be too hard, too soft, or the wrong kind of rock altogether. So this process uses common headings of people, processes, equipment and materials to try and identify the problem of Fred's failure to make a wheel out of the stone. Depending on the problem that you've got, of course, you can use other headings, but these are quite common ones and will work quite often. This is actually similar to something called a fishbone diagram or an Ishikawa diagram, named after the person who invented it. And you can see there that it looks a little bit like the bones of a fish and similar in a way to a mind map. And this is used to identify root causes and potential issues and causes. So very similar methods, mind map and fishbone diagram. So there we are. We're back to the full mind map of problem solving, where we have all the issues relating to the 7-stage process, the 3-stage process and so on, all covered on it. And this and other mind maps are available via the links below. So I hope you found this one useful. Thank you very much.